just found an amazing new way to do transitions, and it's actually really easy. I'm still just experimenting with these tools. I don't know everything about how they work, but it just goes to show how easy they are to use. Like, what if I want to try to zoom over there? If you haven't guessed already, this is blending real footage using AI. So that means there is no limit to the transitions you can make. But enough messing around, let's head back to the computer to see how it's all done. This effect isn't difficult to achieve, but there are a few steps, so just follow along, and we should get there pretty easily. First of all, I think it's definitely worth planning a simple shot list for the effects that you want. If you don't have them in mind, it'll be harder to achieve them. This is all that I had. Pretty simple and to the point, but you want to be thinking ahead of time about camera movement and how you're going to match it while you're shooting. Now that we've shot all of our clips, I've loaded it into Final Cut Pro. You can use any editor you want, really doesn't matter. The most important thing in this edit is choosing your end frames. So let's just look at where this transition happens. I know that I want to fly out of this window and down onto this street level. I recommend leaving a small buffer of a few extra frames. Like you can see before I walk in, there's just a few frames there. That's because we're going to speed ramp later. And we're about to export these frames, but before I do, I just want to drop markers as well. The reason for doing this is if you end up re-editing your footage, you can kind of lose where that frame was. You don't want to forget about it. So I would leave some markers exactly where you exported them. Usually when I edit a video, color grading is the last step, but we're going to have to do a lot of it up front here because the transitions need to match these colors. So most of this video is shot on iPhone. I'm going to select all my clips, remove the default LUT. Now we're just looking at Apple Log 2, and I'm going to select my new Apple Log 2 transform using standard, and now we have a rich cinematic looking image that is ready to go. And if you want to color grade your videos to match mine, you can go to stalman.com/shop, where I've got LUTs for iPhone, Lumix, and Canon. So now we're ready to start exporting our frames. We're going to go to File, Share, and Save Current Frame. We'll export this as a JPEG, and the naming format that I like to use is clip 1 last frame, and then export the next frame, clip 2 first frame. And now I'm going to go through and repeat this process for the whole video. And now we're ready to create our transitions, and we're going to be using the sponsor of this video, Artlist, to do it. Lately, they've added a ton of different AI models, so suddenly there is way more flexibility in what you're able to create. We're going to be using AI video. And this is what you'll see when you first open it up. I think maybe the most daunting thing with AI creation is that it's completely infinite at the beginning, like you can make anything. So following these steps will be a great way to get started. I'll just give you the prompts that you need and the models you need to use. And by the way, I think this is one of the most interesting ways to use AI, like creating entire clips from scratch. Doesn't really have any applications for me. I want to be able to just do special things with certain parts of my footage that I could not do before, like VFX, that I don't have a team to create these. I'm not modifying the main structure of the storytelling. I'm just adding in specific elements that I could not create on my own. So first we're going to click on Image to Video, and then we're going to need to select our model, and there are a ton of models to choose from in here. Some of them are amazing, like there's the new Kling 2.6 Pro, Sora 2 from OpenAI, Veo 3.1 from Google. We're going to start off by using Kling 2.5 Turbo. Those are the results that you saw at the beginning of the video. It's a little bit cheaper and faster than some of the more advanced models. And you can see here it's asking for a start frame and an end frame, which is optional, but we're going to use both. So we're going to upload those frames that we exported, starting with clip 1 final frame and clip 2 first frame. Now each prompt that you write needs to be customized, so I can't just give you one generic prompt that works for all of this. You can't just say create transition, but I'll walk you through how to structure it so that it makes sense. The one I'm using here is the camera flies quickly forward down to the square and gently comes to street level where it starts moving smoothly forward at a walking pace. Keep the camera speed constant through the whole shot. Now, first of all, we are identifying what is moving. It's the camera. It might still work if you use more ambiguous words like move forward, but you definitely want to be as specific as you can to guarantee you'll get the closest results possible. Then it's also important to describe that camera movement. So I want it to be moving fast, as if it's flying, and that when it lands, it's gentle. And then it starts moving smoothly forward at a walking pace. This is so that it matches with the movement we recorded where the camera is moving slowly at a walking pace. I kind of had to learn this lesson while we were shooting. You really have to match the physical movement of the camera and what you tell AI to do. And then at the end, I emphasized keep the camera speed constant through the whole shot. This is so that we can do our own speed ramping first. We don't want too much of a quick takeoff. Then it might slow down as it lands. We want everything to happen at the same speed so we have full control. Then we're going to click animate and see what we get. And here are the results. The funny thing is, after generating a bunch of different versions, I did end up using the very first one. So it's worth it to try a few. You got to see what it does. And I'll show you an example of how Kling 2.5 Turbo turned out better For example, this is what VO3 gave me. It visually is a bit more realistic, but it doesn't do what I wanted. It just creates a fade transition. There's just some magic in Kling 2.5 Turbo, so try it out. Now quickly before we go through the editing, I'll just show you some of the other prompts I used. This zooming effect is the only one where I used a different model. It's C-Dance V1 Pro. The camera quickly, smoothly zooms forward and gently up into the air. And actually wanted it to do a barrel roll, but it didn't really understand that. And then it smoothly lowers back down towards street level. And here's the lesson about camera movement. The zoom is moving forward, and then what we did in real life is we're panning down. So we should have actually been moving forward and panning down to match that movement. We would have had a better blend. It took me 4 tries to get the spinning transition right. You can see I was a little confused about what I was going for at first. Like it was spinning me around. That one doesn't make any sense. This one actually could have worked where I stepped forward, like I kind of like that. But in the end we got it right. I wanted the camera to go 360 around me. And you can see the AI actually doesn't look quite right in the middle. Like if this was playing at normal speed, it wouldn't hold up. So that's why we'll do a speed ramp next to make the effect work. I think this drone transition was the easiest. I just said zoom the camera way out from street level to an overhead drone view. So we've got all of our footage and our transitions, and you can see when we play back quickly, it looks kind of perfect, like you don't notice anything, and that's why we're gonna add speed ramping. So first of all, if I play it at slower speed, you'll notice there's like a little snap right there as it goes through the window. And then again, as it lands, there's a little pop. But I think we can fix that one. All that's really happening there is a color difference. So if we compare the first and last frame, we just need to get these to match. So I'm gonna select my AI clip, and I'm just gonna slightly lower the exposure. Jumping back and forth, like you gotta look at your own clip to see what makes sense. I also noticed the orange over here on the right slightly changes. It goes from a bit more yellow to a bit more red. So we're gonna also modify that, just using our hue versus hue slider. And once we can flick back and forth between those shots without really noticing a difference, we're ready to add our speed ramps. So in Final Cut Pro, I do that by pressing Command R, and now I've just got an overall speed adjustment. First of all, the main thing is just speeding it up. That's gonna help a lot. About 400% should do it. And that's most of it. Like that already is the primary effect. But we also want to add some little handles on either side so it doesn't jump from regular speed to full speed. At the edge of our real clip, we'll also speed things up. And at the beginning of our second clip, we'll also add a small speed ramp. And now we're going to do this for all of the clips. And now we've got all of our speed ramps in. That really helps sell the effect. And this clip also had a big difference between the AI and the real footage. So the color grading goes a long way in matching that, making it seamless. Now, if you really want to go the extra mile blending the visuals, I think it's worth adding some motion blur. The way that I do that is using a plugin. So in Final Cut, I'm going to add an adjustment clip. That's an adjustment layer if you're in Premiere. Drag it over top all of my footage. And this plugin is from Revision Effects, and it's called RSMB. And it just does the best job of motion blur that I've seen from any plugin. Like it's not just duplicating frames, it actually smoothly blends things together. And it's available for Final Cut, Premiere, and Resolve, so whatever you're editing in, you can use it. So that link will also be in the description below. Now let's take another look thinking about that. You can see it's sharper before the effect kicks in, and then while it's moving, the blur is much stronger. I think this clip is the best example of where it hides that kind of weird AI tiler in between. Now you don't really see what's going on as much. And the final step that blends it all together is sound effects. I think they're completely essential for something like this. So this sound was generated by VO3, so the AI models can also generate synced up sound. Even though I didn't like the video, I did like the audio effect, so I added it for one of the transitions. But then if we go back to Artlist, along with music, they also have sound effects. So we're just gonna search for something like whoosh. There's a million different whooshes, just pick one that fits the movement. And with all that in mind, let's take another look at the sequence to see how it all comes together. I just found an amazing new way to do transitions, and it's actually really easy. I'm still just experimenting with these tools. I don't know everything about how they work, but it just goes to show how easy they are to use. Like, what if I want to try to zoom over there? If you haven't guessed already, this is blending real footage using AI. So that means there is no limit to the transitions you can make. But enough messing around, let's head back to the computer to see how it's all done. Now, if you followed all these steps, I would love to see what you created. So send me a message on Instagram or Threads, wherever you are. Thanks for watching, guys, and I'll see you in the next video.